All right. So welcome to the stream. I'm Jared. For those of you that are new here, I'm a Rubyist. I've been writing Ruby for probably too long now, and I run a consultancy where we build Rails-based e-commerce systems using a platform called Solidus, which is built on top of Rails. It's a Rails engine. But that is not what we're doing here today. Today we are diving into the advent of code puzzles, which is a yearly you call it a competition. There is some competition. We're not competing, or I'm not competing here. Where each day you get a new puzzle. They're all two-part puzzles, and as you solve them, it draws out a picture, a Christmas tree or something. And they're all kind of fun programming puzzles. I've never completed all 25 any year. I think 14 is the closest I've gotten. I've gotten to 10 before. Usually things, life gets in the way. It's the holidays, you're busy and things are happening, and you just sort of fall off. But this year I'm going to try and stream and try and do them all. We'll see what happens. I might have to enlist some help from some friends if I get stuck or anything, because I don't have unlimited time to do this, but it should be fun. I do encourage anyone in the chat to help out, give me suggestions, point out mistakes I'm making. What else should I say? I will be trying to stream almost every day at 9 p.m. I know I already have a few conflicts, so I won't be able to do every single day, but I'll try to do as many as I can. The little gimmick that I'm giving myself this year is that I'm going to try to do TCR, test commit revert, where every time I run my tests, if they pass, the changes are committed, and if they fail, the changes are thrown away. There's been some chatter around this topic. Kent Beck has a really good blog post on it. It's just sort of I'm looking at it as a fun way to force myself to move in really small incremental steps and really force myself to actually do some testing as part of this. It's very possible that, for example, today's puzzle, the first day is usually relatively easy. As such, I'm not sure how much we'll actually get to show off the TCR today, but I imagine if I get stuck on puzzles or anything, that will become more of a thing. Any other housekeeping stuff? Sure, there's something else I was thinking of. Oh, yes. One of the nice things that goes along with this year's Advent of Code for me is I signed up for a Whiskey Advent calendar through a Whiskey Dev, which is a local group here in Victoria that put on whiskey tastings and stuff. And every year they also do a Whiskey Advent calendar. Unfortunately, they don't release things at midnight Eastern like Advent of Code does. So for tonight, I have just some Ledaig 10 in my little Whiskey Dev glass. It has a little Glencairn with curly braces on it. But future days will be featuring a variety of nice whiskeys. I don't know what yet. They released it all through a blog, so I can't get ahead of them. I can't cheat. So let us, whoop, wrong one. Try that again. There we go. I am going to I thought I disabled Pretzel Rocks from posting because that is annoying. But we'll see. Just going to all right, so Pretzel Rocks is quieted now. Let us fit this on screen. And we've got 8 minutes, so let's just take a quick walk through how we're going to be doing this. So this is I've got a script set up, and let's just run it for an arbitrary other day. So clean this up. I was just doing a little work on it before I hopped on. But basically the idea is, let's say I want to run 2019 day 1, part 1, though the part 1 doesn't actually matter here. The first time I run it, it's going to commit a new skeleton solution file, and it's going to download the input for me. So, oh, I forgot I haven't set up this machine. Okay, so diff so fancy is not installed. Well, I can't show that to you because I guess I can just comment it out of my git ignore. I should do that off screen though. One sec. Just commenting out my fancy that's all to do. Perfect. Okay. My diffs are ugly, but that we can live with. So it'll set up the skeleton, which is a module containing 2 classes. One is a part 1, which just returns a value of 0. Usually advent of code puzzles have like short string or numeric answers. It loads this input file and a part 2 that just inherits from part 1, because usually part 1 and part 2 share quite a lot of the same logic. There's just some sort of twist. And if you can set things up really nicely, you can very easily solve part 2 by reusing parts of your part 1, and then it sets up some tests. There isn't actually anything in the tests to start, but the skeleton is there, and we can add more tests as we need. And finally, it downloads your input. So this is the input file for my day 1. Now, on subsequent runs, rather than generating a bunch of stuff and downloading a file, it actually will run the tests and attempt and output the solution for whichever part you request. It will run the test for both of them regardless. And so that's that. We got 6 more minutes here. I know a bunch of my friends are going to be doing this one. John Hawthorne likes to do these, and he is much quicker at me. He often makes the scoreboard and does quite well. So our little private leaderboard that we have going is usually just him at the top and the rest of us trailing. It is a fun competition in that way, because people like me who don't necessarily want to do it as competitively can just take their time, or do it even the next day if we get stuck, and then all of the people that are a little more into it can really go for it. We can take a little walk through the script that actually does this work. It's kind of fun. So we are using Bundler. And one of the fun things is rather than managing requires or something, I use Zitework, the new code loading system that is for Rails, but you can really use it in anything you want. Turns out super easy to set up. All I had to do is basically what's in here. You create a new loader. You put whatever folder you want to load in. Currently, I'm putting it just the current folder because that's just what made sense for how I was structuring things. Normally you'd be pushing in, like if you were in a Rails app, you'd be putting in like app/models and app/controllers in there. Not manually though, that's all done for you. But then I set up a custom inflector because it would try and convert this path, or this, it would expect files with this in their path to not have this capital C by default, because it just tries to capitalize things. My advent of code stuff is all capitalized like that, so I needed to tell it that. That was the really only gotcha that I encountered in trying to get this set up. And then the runner itself is relatively simple. there's a bunch of sort of boilerplate here, but essentially, if the day has already been set up, we grab the namespace for that day. We and that that. Thank you, Warm. I will get that fixed at some point. The constant will load everything in the file that we were looking at before, because it's all just in one file. Then we run whatever specs happen to have got loaded. That'll return 0 if that's successful, at which point, if the Git repository is dirty, we commit those changes. And then if not, we don't need to commit anything. We're just rerunning for whatever reason, maybe for debugging or something, who knows. And then we use const-get again to get whichever part, whether it's part 1 or part 2 of the puzzle that we're solving. And this just formats the solution and prints it. If the tests fail, then we just get reset hard. Super easy there. And then if the day hadn't been generated yet, then we basically just do some boilerplate stuff to set it up. Not super exciting. There's like some code to like fetch it using an environment variable for my cookie so that I can fetch things and that kind of stuff. But that's about it there. Oh. 1 minute, 15 seconds. All right. Getting close. Oh, hey, Hoth. The nice thing about these tiny Glencairns is they make all your pores look enormous. Guess one thing I can do is set up my editor here. So we're going to be doing 2020 day 1, part 1. And that just gives me a key binding so that I can just easily run the command quickly while I'm doing things. Test a commit or drink. Yeah, that's a nice test on it though. I feel like having combined alcohol and programming in similar ways before, the likelihood that you solve the problem decreases very, very quickly after a certain point if you're drinking every time your tests fail. All right. We have our first puzzle. Naturally, Advent of Code getting more and more popular, so of course I'm hit with a spinner. Excellent, Warm. That is assuming you do TDD, that sounds dangerous. Do a little like red drink, green refactor. Come on, computer. I believe in you. I guess I shouldn't click again. Yep. The old 504. Has everybody doing the puzzle? Hello, Mamesy. Welcome to the channel. Oh, I should make you a mod too. How do I make you a mod? Mod Mamesy. Mamesy is my wife, for those out there wondering how she immediately gets mod. Though, I mean, everyone talking in chat has mod. Oh, not Hemnixter. You can have mod too. Oh, well, we'll just sit here and participate in this communal Christmas DDoS attack against adventofcode.com, and hopefully we'll be able to see what today's puzzle is soon. Oh, 503. That's worse than 504. I would argue anyway. We can head over to, what's his username? Nope, that's not the right one. Guessing usernames on streams doesn't actually seem safe. One sec. Let's see what Eric has to say about his site's handling. Oh, my computer is very slow when I'm streaming. I don't have the eGPU. I had to, Eric. I had to RMA the eGPU I was using with this Mac Mini due to excessive fan noise. So I am, no, you have a different eGPU, Warm. I had until I sent it in. Another eGPU. But sadly, it's going to be out for a little bit. Probably won't be back until after I'm done these streams anyway. But that's okay. Well, very cool. Hopefully. Well, no word from Eric yet, but that's fine. I'm sure he's working hard to fix it. Sounded like in the Slack that I was looking in when I went off screen there that this is what everyone's getting, so which makes sense. I wouldn't. It is a little too bad though. Oh. My CPU is at like 99%. Sick. One fun thing about this year's Advent of Code is we'll get to watch me grow this horrible mustache out. Somehow decided that late November was when to start growing a mustache. Don't know. You know, I get bored of not having a mustache, and then I have it grow my terrible mustache out. And yeah, I'm sorry that Runcat. That's what made me. Runcat is what made me realize that this was happening. I don't know if anyone on stream is not familiar with Runcat. I highly recommend going and purchasing it. It is a menu bar application for Mac OS that shows a cat, or you can do a dog or a puppy and the penguin. There's a whole bunch of options, but cat's the best one. Cat running in your menu bar. Proportional to your CPU usage. So the cat in my menu bar is just sprinting. Yeah, we'll get to see what 25 days of mustache growth looks like for me. Spoilers, it's going to look like I have a mustache, but it's not going to be good. I shaved my mustache off in the spring. Guess we could try refreshing again. Hey, we got a puzzle. Here we go. Quaker, yes, it can be Nyan Cat. They do have that option, I believe. Runner. Yeah, they do. All right, day 1. Report repair. After saving Christmas 5 years in a row, you've decided to take a vacation at a nice resort on a tropical island. Surely Christmas will go on without you. The tropical island has its own currency and is entirely cash only. The gold coins used there have a little picture of a starfish. The locals just call them stars. None of the currency exchanges seem to have heard of them, but somehow you'll need to find 50 of these coins by the time you arrive so you can pay the deposit on your room. To save your vacation, you need to get all 50 stars by December 25th. This is, of course, just a little storytelling to tell us that we need to do each part of the puzzle to get all of the, which each one giving us a star. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day in the Advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck. Before you leave, the elves in accounting just need you to fix your expense report, your puzzle input. Apparently something isn't quite adding up. Specifically, they need you to find the 2 entries that sum to 2020 and then multiply those 2 numbers together. For example, suppose your expense report contained the following: 1721, 9, I won't read them out. In this list, the 2 entries that sum to 2020 are 1721 and 299. Multiplying them together produces a number. So the correct answer is that number. Cool. Of course, your expense report is much larger. Find the 2 entries that sum to 2020. What do you get if you multiply them together? All right, so it's going to show us our input. Yes, that is not a particularly prohibitive number of things. So let's, whoops, sorry, my little command saves the current file, so I need the current file. Day1.rb, excellent. This is 2019. Close call. Almost did the wrong thing. All right, and let's open up day 1's input. Lovely. So our input, so we need to now Ruby's enumerable has a method for all of the combinations of something, right? We are using Ruby 2.7.2. Figured it was appropriate to use the latest Ruby. Now, do we have a combination? Partition. I feel like I use these methods so infrequently, and oh, it might be an array and not enumerable. Array, please. Yes, combination yields all combinations of length n of elements from the array and returns the array itself. Lovely. So this is one of the sort of annoying things about these puzzles is that, like, I can get pretty far. I mean, first of all, there's sort of 2 pieces that make the sort of testing part weird until you get more complexity. One is that they are fundamentally like you take an input and you give an output. So like they are, when they're simple-ish, they are like a unit. And I don't feel the need to like extract a bunch of objects out of this. So like we can do input dot we split it and then map that through 2i, and then grab the combinations size 2 and then map them through some. Oh, but we're gonna actually need the ones that. So what are we doing again? So we actually need the values. That's still not hard. So combinations. So we can just find, right? Combinations. Oh, combinations didn't return in a. What was the API again? Combination yields all combinations of length n. And then returns no block is given, and enumerators return instead. Perfect. That's what I want. So we can use the fact that Ruby will expand that. And we just want A plus B equals 2020. And then we need to multiply them together. So we can do that, right? Is that the whole solution? Did I just write it all in one go without any tests? Oh, unified combinations. Okay, well, close. Oh, and I just spilled my scotch. Excellent. I reached for my mouse and I kept reaching and hit my glass. Well, let's see if I got the right answer. All right. I mean, what was I supposed to test in there? Worm is complaining that it's not TCR if you don't T. This is true. I came into this very suspicious that this first one might not have enough complexity to really cause me to do any real testing here. So that is what it is. But this was only part 1. Let's see what part 2 wants us to do. Can you test the test input provided? Oh, I should have done that. Yes, let's do that. That is normal. I even thought before earlier today, I was thinking about how I was going to do this, and I was like, oh, well, I can at least, no matter what, I can at least test the test input. And then I completely forgot. Cool. Well, let's do that. Before we move on to part 2, let's pretend we didn't just succeed at this and test the test input. So I'm going to do a little like that. Let's just, we don't need keyword arguments. Let's just do that. So now I can inject a optional different text, and I mean, we can run this, still works, still passes. Let's say context I mean, I'm never gonna actually call it like this. So let's say input, give it a input that I like, and let's grab that from over here. What's supposed to do that actually? Is that gonna work? Let's say, no, I expect it to pass with this input. So I was gonna append this test or something, but that seems unnecessary given that we already know this worked for the, and if I'm wrong, let's watch it get thrown away. We are right. Okay, so test input succeeded. Okay. All right, so we wrote a test. I apologize that I forgot exactly how I was supposed to do this thing, even for the easy puzzles. Part 2. The elves in accounting are thankful for your help. One of them even offers you a starfish coin they had left over from a past vacation. They offer you a second one if you can find 3 numbers in your expense report that meet the same criteria. Using the above example again, the 3 entries that sum to 2020 are 979, 366, and 675. Multiplying them together produces an answer. Okay, so now let's do this properly. We've got an answer. We've got a test input. In fact, I want to restructure this for next day, but I'm not going to do it here. I'm just going to copy this down. Go. Solution, we will pass in the input, and we will now this should fail because we have not yet implemented a solution for part 2. Or it shouldn't fail. It's pending. So in our spec, pending tests are effectively, they are considered to have passed if they, or no, sorry, no, that's not a pending spec. That's a, what is a pending spec? Pending is different from skipped. Pending specs should fail. The messaging that our spec provides when you use XIT is not good because it says temporarily skipped with XIT, but yeah. Oh, never mind. Am I just wrong? Pending specs pass if the example fails. Yeah, but if I change it to this, oh, I'm still running. No, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's not running yet. Was I just wrong? Am I just completely wrong about this? Let's look it up. RSpec pending, because it says skipped, pending examples. I must just be wrong. I will have to look into that at a later time. So coming back to the puzzle, using the above example again, the 3 entries that sum to to 2020 are multiplying together produces the answer. So this is the same thing, but with 3 numbers. Our solution, so that's easy. That's easy. First of all, let's put our thing in there, run it, changes committed. Now let's unpend it so that we're playing with fire. We are going to replace this with a combo size. This guy is going to want a combo size of 2. And our friend down below uses the exact same solution, but with a combo size of 3. Oh, and we have a failure. What did I miss? Three entries that sum to 2020 are 979, 366, and 675. Multiplying them together produces that number. Product of the 3 entries that sum to 2020. I do feel like that looks right to me. Oh, did I just didn't put the right number in my test? No, the right number is in my test. Interesting. It's the same. I'm supposed to be using the same example as above. Yes. Well, that's... Yeah, I don't know where I got that wrong idea, but... Because I was under the impression that skipping and pending specs were distinct things. I'm going to have to look into it. Because that's sort of... I sort of wanted the ability to mark tests as pending or whatever. Does anyone have any idea why that didn't work? Now, usually I just reach for pry, but I feel like it's not what I should do. Sorry, just mopping up my mess I made. Guess my desk is gonna smell like scotch for a bit. All right. I don't see anything obvious here. So let's make our incremental steps. Let's do what this thing is trying to get us to do. So combo size. Wrong number of arguments. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, let's delete that method. Don't need it. Okay, we can change that. Okay, save change. See, this is where it gets fun. All right, so combo size. Again, we're good. We're good. And I just want to look at the result that I get. God, 347, 340, 825. I mean, I guess we can add a little debug statement. Oops. fact, let's just so that worked for that. Now let's unpen the spec. Need to sum them all. You have to add from len to combo size. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Thank you, chat. This is why you're here. So we can just sum an arbitrary number in here, which is what we actually care about. We cool. I believe in us now. And I'm just going to remap this so it runs day 2 when I do it. And test pass. We have some print statements that are stuck in there, but we did it. Completed day 1. All right, let's take our print statements and stuff out of there. Run that again. Commits the change. Everything's passing. Wow. Well, that was a silly mistake. I obviously just didn't look at the code carefully enough to realize that I was only summing the first 2 elements of whatever I was getting back. My print statement would have made me realize that, though, because I would have tried to like figure out what the number was relative to the numbers I had, and I'm sure I would have gotten it from that. But thank you, chat. You got there before I did. Thanks. I think that's it for us. And 9:30 p.m. hits and my room goes into evening vibes here. Thanks everyone for coming. I think we probably set a record of at least 8 people or more on my stream today, so that was awesome. I will be doing this kicking these off shortly before 9 p.m. every day that I can. You can follow me on Twitter, super good Jared there, just like here. And I'll tweet when I'm going live and all that kind of thing. You can give me a follow. Not a single bit, though. Nobody's giving me bits. Other than that, hopefully we'll get a little more into the TCR thing. It just flows so smoothly once you're in there. And I will be trying to break up the puzzles a little bit more, because this one, obviously, I could implement the whole thing in 3 lines and control part 1 and part 2 via a single input. So it was a little easy on that front, but that's nice. It's nice to have a, I don't want to say easy. I mean, I obviously struggled to get the code right there, but a simpler result. And that's nice for day 1. They usually, they sort of, in my experience, they ramp up, but not like monotonically. They're just, I often get stuck on like a difficult puzzle, and then the next day I come back to it and find that the subsequent days are actually easier than the one I got stuck on, or I find them easier anyway. Yes, Jay Hawthorne, off by 1 does tend to come in handy, though not as much in Ruby. But yeah, it's definitely going to happen. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow night.